Hey crew, I've got the key to this 26 Volkswagen Golf R, and this week we're gonna see what it's like to live with, starting with the spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19.5 feet long. I've got the Golf parked about an inch from the edge, sitting next to a 26 Mazda CX-5 that my wife is reviewing. If you want to check out her content, it's at Mobile Mama on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. She's actually got that back tire hanging over the edge a little bit. And with that parking, there is an acre of space to walk between the vehicles. We could easily wheel a wagon or double stroller through for our kiddos. And the front end of the Golf R is not terribly long, and the vehicle isn't so low that you would necessarily need curb ramps like these to help with clearance of things like gutters. But, you know, if you're crashing in and out of your driveway daily, it's a peace of mind thing. And at the back, you can walk with good margin in front of the hedge on the path to my front door. When first hopping in with the key fob on me, I can just put my hand on either of the front two door handles to unlock all the doors. Door mirrors are going to power unfold. This is the first defined notch of opening, and I could get in here without too much trouble, but with the room, I'm gonna go to that second notch for an easier entrance, ducking down over the higher side bolsters, but unlike my M2 CS, they actually have give to them so you can make it in easily. And closing up that door, nice solid thud. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this day in the life in the 26 Volkswagen Golf R. In this video, I want to see what it's like to live with one of the hottest hatchbacks you can buy. Let's begin by firing it up. Nice little rumble from the turbo 4-cylinder heard through the optional Akrapovic titanium exhaust with this Euro style package. And even though you have that exhaust system on there and you heard a little more from the engine, it's not so overwhelming that it's going to disturb any of your neighbors if you're leaving early in the morning for a commute. Okay, before we get going anywhere, I want to show you where I'd place the items I bring with me every day, like my iPhone, which is sitting on this wireless charging pad, and there is room around that for a larger phone than my 17 Pro in its case. Inside the console, I've managed to wedge a granola bar, my slimline wallet, Ray-Ban Meta sunglass case, and my other sunglasses. In the driver door pocket, I've got a 40-ounce metal water bottle. These are giant cubbies, and my Racebox 0 to 60 timer. Then in the passenger door cubby, I put my GoPro accessory case and an additional mic set. So you can find spots for just about everything you're gonna wanna bring with you. I'm gonna throw in my seatbelt now before I pull the gear selector back into drive. That doesn't automatically release the parking brake, so I have to push down on that. Then I can roll forward here, over the curb ramp on the left, dip down on the right, make sure I am clear before I turn the wheel, and make it past my neighbor's basketball hoops with plenty of space. Though the Golf R doesn't have remote start via key fob, it does offer that via apps. You could get the cabin temperature to just the right spot before you get behind the wheel. If you didn't do that, then you can adjust the climate via the dual zone system, and though there aren't physical controls to do that and cut down on distraction, at least the climate is always displayed at the bottom of the screen, and I can use a touch on the left or right side to increase or decrease the temperature, or for a more rapid adjustment, I can slide my finger one direction or the other. Now, as standard, the Golf R with its leather seats offers heating and ventilation, but if you get this Euro style package, then you get these leatherette, suede-ish material and fabric seats that only offer heating. Either way, you do get one of my favorite features, a heated steering wheel, and it has multiple levels of heating, so I can keep it going at a low temperature all the time. I love that. And leather material or not, these chairs are very comfortable. The padding, the support, the ergonomics, and even the adjustability, though the Euro style seats lose out on the full power adjustments of the standard chairs, they still retain the power incline and recline, but move to manual adjustments for the slide and the height. At 6 feet tall, though, I still have a great driving position, plenty of headroom above, and with all the tilt and telescope of the steering wheel, it's at the perfect position for my hands to rest. And then there's the ride compliance. With these standard adaptive dampers, the Golf R maintains this essence of sporty. It's still a taut and energetic ride, but it insulates you from the harshness of the road. Among the more mundane daily driving details, the turn signal sound, if you can hear it over that person's music, is not abrasive at all to hear, and the turning radius, as we shall now find out, is okay. It's a front drive based all-wheel drive system, so the front tires are powering the vehicle and turning it, therefore making the turning radius a bit larger than it otherwise would be, but it's acceptable. In terms of motivation, the Golf R is powered by a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder making 328 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. That's sent through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic to all 4 tires, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get up to speed. The way that power is served up is smoothly though. Dual clutches can sometimes feel clunky. This one doesn't really feel that way at all. Then when it's time to slow down, moving to the brake pedal, good response. Very easy to feel that out. I can discern the gear changes there, and arriving at the stop, there's a little bit of grabbiness at the very end. Thematically, daily driving the Golf R is casual in the ways you want it to be. It's comfortable, it's accessible, more so I would say than its competitors. However, the underlying sense of sport isn't quite as palpable as some of the other hot hatches, but it's still there. It's still entertaining. But before I can say anything further about the Golf R, I need some coffee, so I'm stopping in here at Raised by Lions. Now to find a parking spot. Oh, what is this? Hidden behind the Audi A3, it's a casual Revuelto. Very nice, sitting in front of the T-Mobile, because even the well-to-do need cell phones too. Why am I talking like that? Anyway, I'm gonna back into one of these spaces right over here. And as I go up into reverse, that prompts a medium resolution backup camera, but it does have trajectory lines, and going into reverse, I can set the right door mirror to tilt down so I can more clearly track where the tires are going to line up along with the backup camera. And I also have parking sensors, so as I approach this wall, it's going to alert me to call it queues and get some coffee. Delicious decaf coffee, which is all I can handle, has been acquired. And before I hop back in, I want to talk about the styling, because the Golf R has always been subtle with its performance, and that doesn't change with the Mark 8.5, especially in this graphite gray color, which is a neat paint hue because under cloudy skies like this, it's more modest, but then when the sun hits it, it really glimmers. It contrasts nicely with the blue details like around the grille. You've got the modest R badge there, little feeder arms down low on the grille, getting to the side. The 19-inch two-tone wheels go well with the color of the car, but they're not my favorite design. They're wrapped up in summer performance tires and offset nicely with the blue of the ventilated brakes. R badge there on the door. Stepping back to look at the profile, no issues here at all. It sits tightly on those wheels, and it's got that classic hot hatch shape we've been looking at for decades. Pronounced spoiler at the back end, which is definitely one of my favorite touches, along with this Akrapovic exhaust, which compared to the standard outlets is so much meaner looking. And as a former GTI owner, Mark V, the Golf R is still just so aspirational to me. And on my GTI, oh, Escalade V, very nice. Anyway, on my GTI, I did option on leather, which I still think is the fancier look, but this multi-surface, multicolored and patterned interior is still pretty cool. And I'm gonna step into the back just to confirm my space at 6 feet tall. Behind my own seat, I've got knee room, foot pocket room, and headroom, all positive, along with an armrest that comes down that can hold my coffee momentarily while I survey the air vents, the heated seats in the back, and the USB-Cs, where I can plug in my smartphone and then stick it in one of these 2 pockets. So not really anything I'm missing back here. I could be comfortable as long as I'm not sitting next to another adult right there in the middle. Let's check out the front next. Before I hop into my seat, I want to mention something I didn't show in the back. This suede-like insert on the door just adds this touch of sportiness. This trim here is textured, and then I've got the padded armrest and 4 one-touch windows to just sort of elevate it over the mainstream economy. I praised the seats already, but the steering wheel has this perforation at 9 3 for a grippy spot, along with these larger plastic paddles, digital gauge cluster head-up display, and this large touchscreen infotainment, which I mentioned I wish it had more physical controls, but at least the software itself is quick responding and fairly easy to use. You also have these hotkeys down here, along with your USB-Cs and wireless charging. They had to use the heinous gloss black material though, which is in a spot that is constantly going to smudge, scratch, and collect dust. It just won't look good after a few months of ownership. I do have this cup holder here, which gives my cup a little hug to keep it nice and secure. And if I didn't like that, there's another cup holder right there behind it. So you definitely have usability to this cabin and a semi-premium feel, except for the gloss black. But it's $54,000 as tested, so we need to see how much performance weighs in on that price. All right, let the games begin. I'm moving from comfort all the way to race with the sport transmission set there. Put my foot down. Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. There's a healthy bit of power and torque on hand. And the dual clutch is quick in those changes here in automatic mode. Now, the noise I'm hearing is enhanced by the speaker system, so it's not pure audio heard from the engine and the exhaust. And you can tell it's a little artificial, but it's not an awful noise. I've heard worse from synthesized soundtracks. And when it complements motivation like this, there are many worse things. But now let's try out manual mode, because these are very attractive paddles and I want to use them. Prompt shifts. Down and up. That's what you get with a dual clutch. And the paddles themselves, well, the plasticky feel is not as interesting as metal shifters. But having them be this large and to respond in this way is very positive. The only problem is that even in manual mode, it will still auto upshift. Watch. That for me is a slight knock on a true performance car. You want that full control, the ability, not that you should do it very much, but the ability to bang off the rev limiter. And the fact that you can't in the Golf R, it's just a bummer. Now let's see about a real world 0 to 60. I've got my race box set up here to record. To engage launch control, I need to go to vehicle settings, hit brakes, then put the ESC in sport. Now with my foot firmly on the brake, pin the throttle. It's gonna hold launch, let it go. And arrive at 60 in 4.28 seconds. That is sports car quick with a practical hatchback shape. But more fun than quick launches are rapid runs through canyons, because the Golf R's active all-wheel drive system is very effective at using the power and torque on hand. It's pretty trick. The ELSD up front is variable. It's fluid in the way it shuttles around power, so you never really get torque steer. It doesn't upset the steering. Meanwhile, you can send up to 50% of available torque to the rear axle, and of that, 100% can be sent to either tire, allowing you to overdrive the outside wheel and effectively eliminate understeer. You can really feel it working. Meanwhile, the adaptive dampers have firmed up, so this car feels very tight and energetic, quick to turn in. And the steering feel, I love this. They didn't artificially overweight it to communicate feel. Instead, it stays light, but it starts to load up mid-corner to communicate the grip level of the tires, which are excellent. The brakes, good bite. And then you just tuck into the corner and push through with that all-wheel drive system. The torque vectoring doing its job. And the dual clutch staying in the right gear. The net result is a ton of confidence to push very quickly through roads like this, even if it feels a little more calculated and clinical than the manual Civic Type R or the very rowdy GR Corolla. Still a great time. I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Today, let's test the practicality with a Costco run to benefit the charity Families Forward. Now, part of the hot hatchback appeal is their utility, but what's the Golf R gonna do when faced with a cart like this? Wait, before I say anything about the trunk, how cool is it that the release is hidden in the logo? And that's the same place the backup camera deploys from. Now, for me to stack items uninhibited, I will need to remove this cargo cover, which is easy to do. Couple of loops, pop it gently from either side, and take it out. And I'd love to store this underneath this lowering floor, but there is a sub under that, and normally a spare tire around it. So instead, this is gonna go back, and this is gonna go off to the side. The good news is that because there is some storage down here, I could put some low profile items and use the cubby off to the side. Now for the meat and potatoes, or in this case, chicken of this here Costco run. Now, after putting this cargo cover back on top of all this stuff, which honestly does ruin rearward visibility, I do think that this is all, come on, work with me, yes, going to fit. Whee! Now, after returning my cart, like a responsible shopper, I can confirm that the 2026 Volkswagen Golf R is Costco approved. Now, as I head to drop these items off at Families Forward, I'm on the highway and I'm going to confirm something I probably already know, the passing power, which is plentiful, so that I may achieve the lane of my choosing without too much trouble at all. And then I can take it back out of race, go into comfort, and quiet up to listen for the cabin volume. Which, given this vehicle's semi-humble origins as just a normal Golf that's been hotted up, of course, I think this cabin is remarkably quiet. Even over that concrete slab, yes, we got more tire noise, but it still wasn't overly pronounced. And then you've got the outside traffic, which is barely audible. The wind noise, similarly quiet. This is excellent and on par for the $50-ish thousand we're talking about here. In addition to a quiet cabin, you may want a vehicle that will assist you with driving in traffic. So we have adaptive cruise control, which I can engage here, set my speed, adjust my following distance, and it is going to maintain a gap to the vehicle in front of me without me needing to go to the throttle or brake. There's also steering assistance. It's not full hands-free highway driving, but as I'll demonstrate here, if I take my hands off the wheel for a moment, it will track right there in the center of the lane before a few moments pass, and then it's going to want me to put my hands back on the wheel. Then in really heavy traffic at low speeds, it does turn into full hands-free driving. And those features are so essential if you're going to be commuting in a slog every day. Additionally, the Golf R has a standard Harman Kardon sound system, which we can hear via wireless Apple CarPlay that does take over the whole screen, making the icons nice and large, easy to find. The response is great as well, so I can pull up my playlist of choice, choose my song, there we are, and then there isn't a physical volume knob to turn up, but I have this slider here, which works adequately well, and that's about 50-ish% right there. Let's go maybe to 55 or 60. I'm so impressed with that. I mean, we knew the sub is there. We saw that in the Costco run, but it's really working clearly. Good thump of bass along with excellent fidelity. highs and mids were clearly defined and there was ample wattage. I did crank it up a little bit more, but just to completely block out the outside noise. Super solid, and it's standard. Unrelated, but on a technical note, I have seen a few times the error message pop up that wireless charging is not possible, and I've taken my phone case off just to see if that was the issue. It's not. You have to hunt around, and sometimes it picks it up, and sometimes the key wireless is just not working. It's time to put some fuel back in this 14.5 gallon tank, and the Golf R is EPA rated at 22 mpg in the city, 31 on the highway, and 25 combined, which if I saw 25, I would have a fuel range of 363 miles. However, during my 120 miles with the Golf R, which did include a lot of enthusiastic driving, I've averaged 17.1 miles per gallon. And at the currently painful fuel prices of $6.59 for the required 91 octane gas, it's gonna cost me $95 to fill this tank, and there isn't capless fueling, so I have to work just a little harder. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered what it would be like to live with one of the hottest hatchbacks on sale. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I'm convinced the Golf R is the most livable of its competitors. With a compliant and quiet ride, smooth dual clutch transmission, and versatile cabin, it is no chore to daily drive. Of course, there are quirks like the touch-only infotainment, the temperamental wireless charging pad, and the nefarious gloss black trim, but you can work around these defects and instead focus on the clever cabin storage, the robust feature set, and the adult-sized rear passenger space. In a performance context, the Golf R isn't as sharp or rambunctious as the CTR or the GR Rolla, but it is properly quick, and it can usher its power effectively to the road with its sophisticated all-wheel drive system. $54,000 as tested is not cheap, but the Golf R bridges the gap between mainstream and premium nicely. It is the mature hot hatchback. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.